Hey guys, it's Trey in the Philippines, bringing another video. So, I figured I would talk to you guys a little bit today about something that I didn't really think about. So, the question is the US government tracking you in the Philippines? And in case you don't want to stay longer than 30 seconds, let's just tell you the truth right off the gate. Yes, they are tracking you. And I actually know for a fact they are at this point. And before you think it's a conspiracy theory or anything like that, there's actual proof, and I have experienced it. So let's get into that. So let's think about this. Okay. What brought me to this topic is guess what? The US government, every year, they make you pay taxes and they make you file with the IRS. You know, the dreadful IRS. Well, going through there and doing those things, they start asking questions. Questions you wouldn't normally see. And it's the first time in my life I have actually seen those things. And it seems kind of odd and strange. And upon, further analysis of it, makes sense. I've seen a lot of things, and you heard a lot of things on the news, and if you pay attention to what's going on, they're talking about tracking you if you use your apps and you pay if you go over $600 or $500 or whatever it is, that they want to tax you on any money that you send to people or give to people or buy things with. So you have to be extremely careful. Well, I'm not sure if all that went into place, but I know that they were trying to do it, and it was on the news and everything. But let's get back to what the IRS is doing. So, unbeknownst to me, the IRS started asking questions on my tax papers because I do it online. They want to know if I'm a dual citizen. Am I living in a foreign country? I mean, has anybody else ever seen anything like that before? I know I haven't. Never had to. But the reality of it is that they're tracking you. If you're over here in the Philippines, first and foremost, that means you got a passport. That means you came over here. And every time you leave the country, they scan it. When you enter a country, they scan it. They put you in a database. That means if you leave, they know. If you come back, they know. Unless you're one of those people that are sneaking across the border and not telling anybody. But for your average Joes and people like me, we try to follow the rules and do it the right way. But then you think about this and you go through some of the stuff you experience. You're like, okay, I came here in April and I haven't left. I've been here since April. That means I spent more time in the Philippines last year than I did in the United States. Okay. Well, so they know, and they are tracking you. But it gets a little deeper than that, right? If you watched any of my videos or you've been a part of this channel in any way, there's more to that because I opened up a bank account. And when I did that, I had to fill out forms for the US government. They wanted to track my money coming in and out of the country. They want to know whether or not I'm making money here or anything else because they want me to pay taxes. So even though I'm retired and my income's all US based, they want to know. So they're tracking us. Sending money to the Philippines or sending it to yourself. I found out. I used Western Union and other forms of remittance, right? if you send money to yourself, they want to know why. Or if you send it over there, is it for living expenses? Is it travel expenses? Is it to support a family member? They want to know what you're doing with your money. They're tracking you because, Western Union is a U.S. based company, and that means they have to follow the laws in the U.S. The IRS, which is basically, they want to know where your money is because they want it. They don't want you to have your money. They don't want you to come over here and have a better life. They want your money there. Even though it's not illegal for you to spend your money anywhere you want, technically, they still want that money there so they can tax it, so they can keep it. And that's kind of one of those things that you need to be aware of, because I'm not sure, because this has really been my first full year living here, right? How they're going to attempt to do things, or if there's any tax implications, because I still have a house in the U.S. I still pay taxes. I still do all that stuff. Not a big deal. It is what it is. Been doing it my whole life. And if you're from the U.S., I'm pretty sure you did too. But you got to keep in mind that they're tracking your moves. And Big Brother, they know. Flying under the radar these days, it's not the same as it was back in the day when you could work under the table or do things and not pay taxes on things. They try in every way they can to know. And you're just one person, and the fact that they put things in and implicate and try to find any way to get your money. And unlike people back there in the States, that are trying to keep their money by any way, tax write-offs, doing things like that, which we all try to do if you make any significant money anyways. You come over here, things are a little bit different. You don't have to pay those taxes. Things are cheaper. And if you're spending your money over here, that means it's cheaper or it's more affordable. Well, that's bad for them because the money is not going to them and they can't tax you on everything and they can't somehow get a hold of it. So they're tracking you, looking for any way to squeeze a dime out of you, or a peso, however you want to term it. But I thought it was really interesting because everywhere I turn, even in a foreign country, the U.S. government is watching you. They're watching your every move. And that seems odd, that you have to worry about paying taxes or something, or they're looking for any way to get a dime out of you. I mean, don't you think that's a little bit of an overreach? You're trying to find a better life. You're trying to find a better way to do things. I'm not hiding my money. I'm not hiding anything. I mean, they knew I came here, obviously. They scanned my passport when I left. But they're tracking my bank accounts. They're tracking my movements with my passport. And, I knew that the government does things. Being that, I've worked with the government before. I was in the military and, in fact, I'll tell you a story one time. This might be interesting, might not. But you guys remember back when 9/11 happened. If you were in the U.S., you know that it was a big deal to anyone that was there. And I was in the military at that time. I was a young sailor on a submarine. Well, all that stuff went down and everything. And I don't think this is a secret, so I'll put it out there. We had briefings after that whole thing, and, things were being put into place. If you remember, they were straight up putting up fences. They had guards. Everything changed overnight. Things were put into place that you didn't even know was possible. And the first time I found out that the government was tracking every move we make, was then. And the reason I know that is because we got sat down and we got briefed. And they talked to us about our telephone calls. And I was like, telephone calls? What are you talking about, right? Well, come to find out that the U.S. government had put into place that they had a way to listen in. Now you think they can't listen to everybody's phone calls and all that other stuff. No, they didn't have to. They had programs and they had listening devices that would pick up on keywords. So if you said any of those keywords, automatically it would switch into listening mode and they would start listening to your conversation. You can call bullshit if you want, but I was there. I don't give a rat's ass what you think. When I'm in the military and they tell you if they hear the word bomb, if they hear other keywords, automatically they will start listening to your conversation. So they briefed us on this. Not to say these keywords on your phone calls. Not to mention, don't tell any secrets, don't tell anything that's going on, obviously. But that was my first real understanding how far the government has gone. The fact that they had something already in place that they had to listen to a phone conversation, a program that was obviously pre-developed that could pick up on keywords and track things like that. Shit was real. I mean, it was. So if you're over here in the Philippines like I am, or anywhere else in the world, knowing that the government is tracking you no matter what you do, even if it's just as simple you're that average Joe everyday guy, they still want your money. They still are tracking you. So you need to be aware of those things. And that means if you're sending money over here, make sure you keep records. Make sure you know what you're doing. It's really important because you don't want to get caught off guard. You don't want to send money over here or buy something or do something that, they can tax you on or come at you for any reason. I mean, remember, the government has people in place to do things that, well, let's just be honest, a free country should never have to deal with. But they didn't invent or create the FBI, the CIA, the intelligence agencies and all this other stuff for no reason. And you think that you are just small potatoes. But the truth is that although we're small, middle class Americans are the ones that pay for all the taxes, and they're looking for any reason to get your money out of your pocket into theirs so they can use it and spend it on things that they're not going to tell you about. You can call it conspiracy theory, you can call it whatever you want, but anybody that's experienced that or dealt with that knows it is what it is. But the fact that the IRS knows that I'm here and wants to know and asking me questions that I have never ever seen on a income tax return or filing status, that tells you something. The fact that the banks here, when you open up a bank account, has U.S. forms and they got to report any money going in and out. They're tracking you. Remember, your passport tracks everywhere you go. You leave the country, you come into the country. If you use it for any reason whatsoever, those things sends off a ping. And it's getting more and more like that. And I think it'll only get worse, to be honest with you. But I figured I would talk to you guys about that, and hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to cut it off here. All right. Take care, guys. Maybe I'll do an update on this if something else comes up. Peace.